I don't actually know what I'm doing, right? This YouTube channel serves as I don't know, an expression of the spiritual awakening or the relationship that I have with spirituality towards others, strangers, in an attempt that others might benefit from it. And they probably have to some degree, I think. But sometimes people find these videos, whether they are complete strangers on the internet, meaning useless, non-playable characters, or they're people that I meet in my daily life and they might discover some stuff about me and then they, look me up or whatever. And there's probably, and there has been many examples of this immediate instinctual reaction that, oh, well, this person's spiritual, so therefore, they are full of shit, or they think that there's some sort of guru and that they have all the answers, and that's what they're trying to do. And that's, of course, not at all how I view myself. I view myself as rather kind of a useless floating amoeba, or like that. You know what? Sometimes when your eyes are out of focus and there's like a little gray, dusty thing that kind of, and you always try to say hi to him, and then he just kind of keeps going away, right? Like stuff like that. That's more how I see myself, is sort of the specks of dust in your eyes. I don't feel like I have an incredible amount of value to give to others when I watch YouTube videos from people that I consider. I don't know if masters is the right word, but maybe people that I would look up to or feel inspired by to some degree. Jeff Foster, for example, I feel like they have great value, and that they do bring lots of information, and they radiate like an authenticity that is rewarding, I think, right? And so much of my YouTube channel has been about trying to emulate that kind of stuff. But the reality is, of course, I have no idea what's happening, right? If you want an insight into the amount of stuff that a spiritual awakening might give you, or that this relationship that someone might have to spirituality, what might actually entail, right? What might actually happen as a consequence of undergoing a new way of thinking, a perception being unlocked. And I'll tell you, every week is chaotic. Every day is chaotic. My job, in general, is up and down, chaotic. Things change, right? My life, the art, the music, the writing that I do, this creative world, it doesn't scream stability, right? It's not a consistent sort of thing. It's very much up and down. And the thing about spirituality is it's very much up and down. It's not a linear process where you think everything's supposed to get better, and because it doesn't. There have been times in my life where I have been absolutely devastated by the process of this awakening, or the way that I move through this spiritual journey of my own. I, would think that I should have been much farther ahead, right? And maybe we look at that and think, well, do we mean material success, like a fancy car, a big home, something like that, right? Is that what we talk about when we think farther ahead? And to me, not so much. Definitely in the past, but now it's more, I just wish that there was a sense of peace. That every day, that the amount of control that I try to take from the universe, from the life around me, I wish that I would just stop doing that, right? I wish that I could relax more into the present moment and stop worrying so much about things. Every day I worry, I overthink, and I feel an intense, palpable amount of pain and grief from places that I don't even know where it came from. Whether or not it's abusive, narcissistic parents, and I don't use that word lightly, narcissistic, I really don't. And or does it come from some things that have happened in my life, right? Is it recent? Was it buried? Is it trauma from generations, from what many people might refer to as past lives, right? It something that occurred in another life with another version of my soul incarnating, or something like that. How much of the spiritual wisdom, the spiritual truth, are we actually going to take and integrate, and how much of it is real and how much of it is not, right? This is the kind of stuff that goes on. And maybe it goes on with you. I can only give you an insight into my own life, right? But the feelings that I get, the emotions that I experience, there's something deeper than most people. and it's not a competition, it's just a reality. And if you understand the spiritual journey, then you understand what it's like to go through intense amounts of upheaval and destruction and these moments where it feels like things are just shattering apart, right? There are relationships that I was in that I swore were the absolute pinnacle of some spiritual connection, whether they were a soulmate or twin flame, and I'm not with them, right? There were friends that I relied on. There were spiritual truths that I thought I should cling to. There were opinions that I thought had to be empirical truths. And as I've gone through my life, through this journey, it's been at least 6 or 7 years now, the things have changed. Things have completely changed. I'm often clueless, disillusioned, anxious, worried. I get more anxious and worried the more I say the words anxious and worried. And every day is new. Every day is chaotic. It's a lot. There's burdens, there's a heaviness that surrounds me at times because I'm unable to actually integrate all of these lessons and things that I've been trying to learn and these new awarenesses and perceptions. And I've been trying to integrate them into a real pattern of existence. But I've struggled. I've struggled. And I'm not perfect, right? I mean, these videos are an attempt to show people, and I'm not perfect, that there are things that I have been through that might help, but that I still will go through from time to time or every day. It doesn't matter specifically what they might be in my own life. Definitely right now, I'm smoking way too much weed, like a lot. Oh my God, so much weed. And it's probably not a lot, to be honest. It's more, they're very low THC, sort of like it's not a lot of THC. I'm not like getting blasted and getting high, but it's more the physical manifestation of anxiety, like this action right here. That I like. It's a calming sort of thing, and there's a habit, and you form a habit, right? And that's something that I would love to just say, well, wouldn't it be great if I only smoked a couple times a month, right? But instead of doing it, that many times, it's like 4 or 5 times a week, maybe more, and as low as they might be, basically treating it like cigarettes, right? And that's a real thing that's happening in my life, right? And there's times where it's been worse, times where it didn't smoke at all, up and down, right? And the up and down has nothing to do with the marijuana itself, right? It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with my emotions, right? So it's just a small example of the things that I might go through on a daily basis, right? People might see these videos and think that I'm trying to treat this YouTube channel like I have answers to every single problem. I don't. I have an awareness of what's happening. I understand what's happening to me. I understand what's happening to others. I can see things for what they are, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm perfecting the things that I'm realizing. Right? There's tons of things that I know about life, about the universe, about myself, about spiritual journey, about how letting go is an absolutely a feeling that we all understand deeply, and that really letting go is the result of never having held on in the first place, right? When you're holding on to something so tightly, imagine the feeling of that you never grabbed on at all, right? And everybody knows that feeling. Everybody knows that feeling. It's deep within us, right? But we spend our whole lives clinging on to all sorts of stuff. So while I might understand as a small spiritual truth that letting go is the way to move forward, right? Consistently letting go and allowing oneself to live in the present moment. Everybody who's ever been spiritually awakened or has some level of wisdom or has been through things in their life, they've said these things. They've said it in their own way, in their own time, with their own sense of humor, personality, whatever. And this is me saying it, and I know that. But energies change, and the things that we go through are difficult. It's one thing to spout off a bunch of spiritual truths from the top of a mountain retreat in Costa Rica, and it's another thing to try to accomplish things in your life, to get books published, to make music, to try and to make a name for yourself, to get recognized, to try to apply for contests, to be rejected, to be accepted, to make a friend, to lose a friend. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in my life every year that feels like I've lived multiple lives in one lifetime. And then I've consistently kept going with that, right? And that amount of pain and exhaustion that I've carried from this experience of my life. 32 years I've been alive, somehow still alive. All of that is a mess of imperfections and anger and wisdom and love and compassion and kindness and care and destruction and ego and suffering and shame, so much shame. I mean, do you guys know the amount of Burger King that I've eaten in my life, or just generally shit food or something terrible? I mean, oh my God, so much shame. There's nothing more shameful than ordering mozzarella sticks from Burger King and getting them, and then they have no mozzarella in the mozzarella sticks. So then you go up to the people at Burger King and you say to them, "Hey, my mozzarella sticks don't have mozzarella in them," and they look at you like, "Dude, just eat your shit food." You know, it's Burger King. What did you want? There's nothing more shameful than that. And it's just the life. That's what my life is. My life is a series of everything, many emotions, many thoughts, many perceptions. And that's what I feel like the spiritual awakening actually is. It's this process of understanding yourself. And that means that you have to get reflected back some garbage. And that's what happens to me is I feel like I take a step forward and then, yeah, there's like 2 steps back. Sometimes you take 2 steps forward, it's 1 step back. And sometimes you just take 5 steps forward and you don't go back at all. And it happens suddenly, right? The amount of progress that one can make is just next thing you know, oh, wow, that was my shitty attempt at snapping my fingers. I don't know if you can hear that. Was that good? Can you hear that? I don't know. I only learned how to do that a couple years ago. I still can't whistle, right? We're working on whistling next. I interrupted my own sentence just to point out some absolute nonsense, but that's the whole point. That's the point of this, right? Is you start something, you don't finish it. You try something, it doesn't work out. You reflect at all the bullshit, and that's what you go through. You go through it until the repeated patterns that you've made, the progress, it all just makes sense one day, right? And I've had many examples of that where I've struggled with things and then it either temporarily or permanently goes away, right? And other times it just comes back and it's just something that you're dealing with and it reflects your emotions, right? And it reflects my emotions. So in my life currently, I'm definitely disillusioned with how I wanted things to play out and what I want from my life next, where I want to go. There's a lot of questions that are serious and they make me think a lot. They make me anxious. They make me scared. I'm consistently scared, but I'm also consistently courageous in my attempt to keep going after what it is that I want. And the version of myself before these awakenings or perceptions in my early 20s never would have done the things that I'm doing now. So all I can say for myself on behalf of myself is as scared and traumatized and filled with grief or pain as I might be on a daily basis, I consistently and continuously go towards the next step, even if I have to drag myself up a flight of stairs. I will still go to where I need to go. Persistence is everything, and persistence is all I have left.